Every single one of us is a field that is both the observer, the observed, and the actor. And it doesn't exist this field does not exist in space and time. Space-time exists within these fields that we are, is us.
What if everything you are seeing is not actually out there? What if all happening in here, assembled in real time by your mind? Not just your thoughts or feelings, but the sky, the stars, the chair you are sitting on. What if reality is just a beautifully persistent illusion filtered through something even stranger than space or time? This isn't about philosophy, this is the edge of science. We are about to explore something most researchers avoid: consciousness, the final mystery. We have met Mars. We can measure brainwave down to milliseconds, but no machine can tell you what it feels like to fall in love, or what red looks like red to you. Maybe we have been asking the wrong question all along. For over a century, science had called consciousness a side effect, a glitch, just neurons firing. But what if it is not a byproduct? What if it's the source? Your brain runs on 86 billion neurons. Every thought, dream, heartbeat, they all start here. And for most scientists, that's where it ends. Just circles, just chemistry, case closed. Your brain is a masterpiece of evolution, indeed. But here's the weird part. We can trace a thought to a neuron, but we still can't explain what a thought feels like. No scan can show you love. No microscope can reveal what red looks like in your mind. The classical view says that the brain produces consciousness, but what if it's the other way around? William James, father of modern psychology, believed the brain might function more like a filter, a reducing valve for a wider field of awareness, like a radio turning into one station at a time. Modern philosopher Eddie B. Lamoria expands this view. The brain does not generate consciousness, it reflects it, like a prism breaks light into colors.
All the great mystics, without exception, have used the analogy with light, and it's much more than an analogy. Now, the wonderful poet Shelley said, just as a dome of colored glass bends light, so our brains stain the white radiance of truth. So our brains are like colored glass that refracts the white radiance of truth, which is the universal consciousness, and we break it up into these various streams of consciousness. So our brain does not generate consciousness, it breaks it up.
In this light, the body is not a container, but a receiver. Consciousness is not just inside the brain is inside consciousness. And this leads us to physics, to the quantum world, where particles exist in probabilities, and observation collapse reality. Mathematical physicist Sir Arthur Penrose, who won the laureate of Nobel Prize in Physics in 2020, argued that classical physics cannot account for consciousness.
So when people talk about the hard problem, that is to say, how can you have something different coming in, which is perception or awareness or whatever it is, which isn't part of standard evolution of ordinary physical system? Well, that is because you have, in an orchestrated way, these proto-consciousness elements coming together in a coherent way, and that is what constitutes consciousness on this particular view.
Along with anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff, he proposed the orchestrated objective reduction theory, Orch-OR.
You have superposition, but we don't see superpositions. We see everything in definite states. So how do the multiple possibilities reduce or collapse to definite states? And that's still not really well known. There was a theory, and still is, that an external observer, a conscious observer, looks at the superposition, and that causes the collapse.
Inside your neurons, there are tiny structures called microtubules. According to Orch-OR, they can hold delicate quantum states, existing in multiple possibilities at once. When those states collapse in a specific orchestrated way, a moment of awareness is born. And Penrose suggests consciousness may be the foundation of the quantum fabric of reality itself. But physicist and microprocessor inventor Federico Faggin went further. After inventing the first commercial microprocessor and undergoing a profound psychedelic experience that immersed him in a realm of unconditional love and transcendental vibrations, he turned inward.
Thoughts are more important than stuff. From the inside, you get the outside, not vice versa. And science doesn't recognize the existence of the inside. Once people are convinced that we are conscious, that we are fields, that when the body dies, we don't die. I mean, that's a good news. Once you understand that consciousness is beyond matter, beyond this space and time, we already know that we can explore this world by going out of body with our consciousness. Consciousness is the tool for knowing, infinitely more powerful than any instrument that we have ever built.
His conclusion: information alone doesn't explain consciousness, meaning does. He believes consciousness is the primary fabric of existence. Matter emerges from awareness, not the reverse. Every system, every particle may process a form of a subjective experience. Reality isn't just made of atoms, it's made of experience. Cognitive scientist Donald Hoffman takes another step. Evolution didn't shape us to see truth, it shaped us to survive. What we perceive, he says, is just a user interface, like icons on a desktop.
This one infinite intelligence, whatever it is, has decided, I want to look at myself through the lens of a mosquito, and now of the bumblebee, and now of the jewel beetle that can't even tell a bottle from a female. I'm going to look at myself from this panoply of perspectives.
So you're almost implying there that there's this one consciousness, and it's just using different organisms potentially as vehicles to understand itself and the nature of reality.
That's right.
So that would mean that me and you are the same consciousness, super intelligence or whatever.
We don't see the real world. We see symbols and help us navigate. Space, time, and even objects may not be fundamental. They may be the interface, and what lies beneath is pure consciousness interacting with itself. So what is consciousness? Not just a byproduct of nuance, not just a glitch in evolution, but perhaps the most real thing there is. The canvas upon which all else is painted. What happens when the brain stops, but awareness doesn't? When the heart flatlines and the world goes silent, and yet someone later recalls every detail in the room? They are not fantasies. They are known as near-death experiences, NDE. Thousands describe them with clarities, floating above their bodies, watching surgeries from above, feeling peace, entering light. Their bodies were dead, but they felt more alive than ever. It's even more interesting when it comes to out-of-body experiences, a controllable NDE. No trauma, no death, just consciousness stepping outside of the body. Vision expands, thought becomes movement. Awareness spreads in every direction. You're no longer in the body. You are more connected to the field. Ancient teachings describe subtle bodies, the actual, the light body, the dream self. Each body resonates with a different frequency, and surrounding them is the Merkaba, a star-shaped energy field that is both the vehicle and decoder. It moves awareness across dimensions and shapes what you experience. As Dravalo Makizda says, your Merkaba filters reality according to your frequency of consciousness. You don't see what is out there, you see what your field is turned to perceive. Just as a radio turns into different stations, consciousness turns to dimensional field. Most of us live in the third density frequency. Linear time, separation, physical cause, and effects. But what if higher densities exist where thoughts create instantly, where time falls inward, where unity is not a concept but a felt truth? You don't travel to these dimensions within your body. You travel with your state of being. Imagine this. Two people walk into the same room. One feels serenity. Another feels dread. The environment didn't change. They did. The Merkaba doesn't just move you through space. It moves you through resonance reality. For the Merkaba secret, we will make another video to discuss. This is the truth mystics whispered. Quantum physics began to suspect the ancient encoded in light and symbol. Reality is not fixed. It's a field dependent. You're not trapped in one dimension. You're swimming in many right now. But your awareness, like a dial, locks you into one. Change the dial and the world changes with you. So the question is not just what is real, it's what are you ready to perceive? Before there was time, before space stretched its arms, before any particles danced or any light appeared, there was only this, not a thing, not a place, a presence, a knowing, a field of awareness, pure, formless, and infinite. For centuries, mystics has whispered, you are not in the universe is in you. Today, even physicists begin to wonder, what if consciousness is not in space and time, but space and time are in consciousness? I regard consciousness as some fundamental. It from bit symbolizes the idea that every item of the physical world has a bottom, an immaterial source and explanation. Consciousness cannot be accounted for physical terms. It is absolutely fundamental. Our view is that consciousness is a fundamental feature of the universe, perhaps built into the very fabric of reality at the quantum level. In every equation, there is one who observes. What observes changed the outcome. But who is the observer? The one seeing thoughts rise and fall? The one behind the eyes? The one that never speaks yet always knows? Who are you when there is no memory, no story, no identity? What remains? Only this, awareness. Awareness is not what you do, it's what you are. You don't need to find it, you need only stop identifying with everything that you are not. In the Vedantic traditions, this truth is expressed in one phrase. Atman is Brahman. The self is the universe. Not metaphorically, literally. The witness inside you is the same presence that stirs galaxies into motion. So you are not separate. You are the ocean, momentarily pretending to be a wave. And when the wave forgets, there is suffering. When it remembers, there is peace. Different path, same destination. The mystic, the physicist, the seeker, the doubter, all circling back to the same question. What is the one thing you cannot stop being? Awareness. You are listened, you are wondered. Now pause. Not to analyze, not to seek, just to feel. Feel the presence watching right now as words appear in your mind. Not your thoughts, not your emotions, but the one who is aware of them all. This awareness is not a theory, it's not a belief, it's what you already are, beneath the noise, beyond the name. And every moment you forget, life becomes heavy. But every moment you remember, it all begins to shift. So there's the invitation. Just for a moment, stop identifying with the contents of consciousness and rest as consciousness itself. The breath will guide you. The stillness will hold you. You don't need to understand. You only need to remember. If you wish, go deeper. If you feel the longing to live from this space, not occasionally, but truly begin with your own heart. Not the physical one, but the center of knowing, the field of coherence, the gateway home. Then feel free to try our meditation guides, tailored based on science and years of practices. We benefited from them, so we wish everyone can experience the same like us. This is not the end. This is the beginning of a new kind of seeing. One where reality is not imposed, but creative. One where science, soul, silence finally meet. One where you are the source. So ask yourself right now, who is watching this?